here in Bryan tonight, and I've got a guy who has not one but two Mopars right now, and he's probably the most popular guy on the square right at this point in time. People are waving at you and signaling you. Todd Henrich's with me right now. Todd, thanks for spending some time with us tonight.
Thank you.
Hey, what do you got sitting here? You got a brand new one kind of sitting in front of me, this Hellcat. Tell me a little bit about that one first of all.
That's a 2016 Challenger Hellcat. I bought it from K-Spear Motors. I ordered it with all the stuff on it that I wanted. Sunroof, the automatic transmission, heated seats, just everything you can possibly get on it. 706 horsepower.
Did you need that for a reason, Todd? The horsepower? Is there a reason you got to go somewhere fast every now and then?
There's always been a need for speed.
Yeah, there has always been, especially if you're a Mopar guy.
Right.
Are you a long-time Mopar guy?
I've been driving Mopars, and my dad did even when I was a kid. That's kind of what got me into it.
What do you think of the new ones? Because I know you've got a body shop here in the area, right? Let's put a shameless plug out there for that right now. How's that?
Well, the new ones have about twice the horsepower that they did back when they thought they were muscle cars. Back in the day, like 69, 70, they had 400 horse, 375 horse, 440s in them.
Yeah.
And now they've got 700 and 800 horsepower in these Challengers, and it's unbelievable. It's this is the real muscle power of all times nowadays.
Yeah, it is, isn't it, huh?
It is.
Now, you know what? I had somebody tell me that even with all that horsepower, if you kind of don't get into it real hard, you can get pretty decent fuel mileage. Am I right or am I wrong?
That's correct. If you drive at 55, 60, you can get real decent fuel mileage, but that's hard to do. You might think you're going to drive it that way, and the next thing you tromp it down, and there goes your fuel mileage.
Right down the drain, doesn't it, huh?
It does.
But I was told 25, 26, 27 miles an hour, a gallon, isn't all that unattainable if you have that kind of patience?
Pretty much.
Pretty much?
Get a lot of patience, so.
And then when you push that pedal down, it goes down into single digits, I bet, huh?
Oh yeah, you can watch the gas gauge go down if you get on that pedal.
Now, I'm an older guy, so I remember the one that's sitting behind you as well, back in the 60s and 70s, and we thought those were pretty cool. But I don't think back in that time frame we could ever imagine something like this one, could we?
Nope, back in them days we never dreamed that this would end up into this kind of horsepower in the 2019 era.
Where do we end with something like this? Where are they not street legal anymore, I guess? At 707 horsepower, you'd think that you wouldn't let a guy out on the street with that one, but they do.
I really don't know, but I know that they're all competing. Ford and Chevrolet now have cars coming out with more horsepower than the Dodge Challenger.
Wow.
It's always been a competition.
Isn't that amazing? It's just hard to believe. Now, you got one, though, that really kind of steals my heart behind you, okay? Tell me a little bit about that one.
It's a 71 Barracuda. We made it into a Cuda. It was a 318 automatic car, and we converted it into a 446-pack car with 528 horsepower. It's been dynoed at, automatic transmission. It's a real fun car to drive.
Man, that's the original one right back there, man. They don't get any prettier than that one.
In my book, it's a better looking car than the new Challengers. It's got the original chrome bumpers.
Yeah.
And the old look to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing beats a 71 Cuda on any Mopar guy's book.
I would amen to that. How's that? I would agree with you 100%. Now, we saw a 70 tonight. The differences between that 70 and that 71, were there many changes between those two that you're aware of?
Yes, the 70 is a really valuable car, and the 71 in my book is even more so. In 71 they went to the dual headlights.
Yeah.
Or 70 they had the single headlights.
Yep.
It was the only year for the Cuda to have the dual headlights.
Okay.
And then 71 they went to what they call a chartreuse grille. And that is just outstanding, that grill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in the fenders on the 71, they have what they call gills.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
And that really sets the car off as well. And that was the only year for the gills. and
Wow.
the shark's tooth grill.
Now, where did you find this one? Where did you find the 71?
I found it over in Farmer, Ohio, sitting in a barn, just deteriorating away, but it was still in pretty good shape.
Man.
And I looked up the guy and went over there with some $100 bills.
Yeah, a couple of them, I'm sure.
There's more than a couple. But
Yeah.
we put cash in front of him, and he decided he'd sell her.
Wow. And I'm sure you did all the body work on this thing?
Everything.
Yeah, did it all.
Yes.
Took her from a 318, you said, to what you got now. What's the engine?
440 6-pack.
Wow. And you took her from, is it still automatic or was it?
It's automatic still.
Okay.
We put a vintage air conditioning system in it.
Yeah.
The car originally had air conditioning.
Okay.
We hooked everything into the old setup in the dash, so when you look in the car, it looks like it's the original air conditioning.
Oh, wow.
It comes out of the exact same vents it did in the dash back in the day,
Okay.
but it's got the modern day air conditioning, which will cool you down real quick compared to what it did back then.
You know what? We all remember what it did back then, and it was barely air conditioning back in the day, was it, huh?
It wasn't much air back then.
No, not at all. Now, what do you prefer working on? The older cars like the 70 or the newer cars like you got sitting to our left?
We like working on all the new stuff. Nowadays, I did the old cars for many years. Now we're completely out of them. Where I work, I just do old cars for my own self.
Okay.
But what we found out is working on the new cars is so much better as all the bolts are not rusted.
Yep.
Everything comes apart so well compared to working on an old car where you have all that rust and corrosion and the bolts breaking off.
Man, how easy is it to find parts and vendors and those kind of things for those 70s nowadays?
Well, if you got money, you can find them.
Okay.
Everything's out there.
Yeah, yeah. It just takes the greenbacks, doesn't it?
Right.
I had a guy the other night that had a Cuda over in Wasion, and somebody said, how much for that? And he says, well, if you stack the bills about that tall, he says, I'll let you have the car. And that's pretty much the way that these are anymore, aren't they, huh?
You're right.
You know what? Would you ever imagine how much these things would be worth, 30, 40 years ago?
No, not even close. Back in 1980 or 79 or so, you could buy one of these cars for $500 to $1,000.
Yeah, yeah. And now what does it take to get something that's even as this one was, starting to see its years sitting in a garage? How much you pay for a skeleton like that nowadays?
Well, I bought this skeleton. I got it for $6,500.
Wow.
But it was all there.
Yeah, and that's important, isn't it?
Yes, because all the interior was there.
Yeah.
I didn't have to hunt down all the seat backings and stuff. We just recovered everything, and we had all the material there and everything to work with.
Man, that is phenomenal. You know what? They're beautiful automobiles, but I kind of agree with you. If I was going to sit down and stack a bunch of bills up, I'd take the orange one back here,
I would too.
Now, you've got a body shop. You want to give me a little plug out there for your body shop if somebody's watching on Facebook right now?
As far as what?
Where are you located? What's the name? Those kind of things?
We're Todd's Auto Collision. We're located 5 miles west of Bryan on County Road 9. Just take 34 out west till you get to County Road 9 and hang a right, and we're the first place on the right-hand side. You can't miss us.
Man, I'll tell you what. And I think the pictures they're looking at right now speak for themselves as the quality of the work that you're doing out there. Todd, hey, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing both those beautiful automobiles out here tonight.
We enjoyed talking with you.
Hey, I enjoyed talking to you. We're at the car show tonight in Bryan. This is going to be the last show in Bryan for the year. We're out here thanks to Bryan Ford Lincoln, the main stops in Northwest Ohio, Case Beer, Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep, where Todd bought his brand new monster Challenger, and Wheelan Automotive and Culligan Sales and Service of Northwest Ohio.